Hello, everyone. My name is Polina, and I'm a senior user experience at Motorola Solutions, or MSI, as we call it. And I'm also a lead designer on a project called Secure Communications Central, SCC for short. And that is a application that ensures secure communications between different teams and agencies of public safety. My main task is to make this very complex, encryption-heavy solution into an intuitive and user-friendly platform.
And hi, I'm Aga, and this is my first public speaking, so please bear with me. Thanks. So I'm a product designer at Radio Central in Motorola Solutions, RC in short, and it's a fleet management tool that helps technicians to conveniently program multiple devices at once via internet connection. And by devices, I mean mostly land mobile radios. And I focus on simplifying the workflows of radio programming and creating clear user-friendly interfaces.
During this presentation, we will dive into the challenges and strategies of how you can actually bring user experience practices into your existing Agile teams. Okay, so imagine this. So your Agile team usually quickly quickly delivering features, staying on schedule, and yet somehow users are becoming frustrated. You have accumulating support tickets and engagement is declining. So why is this happening? Often, crucial design insights are overlooked in huge, fast-paced Agile environments. So, and primarily that happens due to resistance to change.
So, here's the deal. Users don't play nice with bad design, and up to 88% of them will ditch you after one bad experience. So, in Agile, ignoring UX is practically leaving money on the table. And now, as let's say more experienced UX designers, we know that integrating user-centric ideas into existing Agile workflows can be a little bit challenging. But it's a game worth playing, as the results are game changers. And let us show you how. Sorry. We will start by introducing the reasons behind resistance to UX improvements in a myth-busting session. Next, we will provide some practical strategies for successful collaboration. And of course, we will share real-life stories from our experiences at MSI. And finally, we will conclude with a brief Q&A sessions.
So, as you may know, organizations often face some resistance when they try to incorporate UX teams or people or methods into their workflows. Here are a few most common reasons why this pushback may be existing, and you will probably find this relatable. So first thing is perception of high costs. So many teams see UX as something extra, an extra cost that doesn't provide quick benefits to teams, especially financial benefits, of course. And this mindset really comes from the fact that advantages of improving UX aren't immediately available or obvious, and it really can be hard for stakeholders to see the true value that UX can bring. Next one is limited understanding. So there is a very common misconception that UX is all about just making things look pretty, and it's not really focused on what users need and solving their real life problems. And next one is preference for quick solutions, and this might be very familiar to all of you. So there is a tendency to prefer fast, low-cost solutions in terms of really committing to long-term UX strategies. And teams may see these activities, for example, like user research, as something that can slow them down quite a lot. So
yeah, and for instance, my design team ran into some pushback when we suggested doing user research at the start of the sprint. The architects weren't very happy about it because they were worried it might slow things down when it came to getting features out. And they didn't really see the value of how improving the user experience could lead to cost savings for the feature we wanted to add. So, addressing resistance with data. To counter resistance, we as UX designers can help ourselves by sharing some solid facts on how investing in UX actually pays off. One example could be that we can show how it involves conversion rates, because better UX, because better UX means users are more engaged, which leads to more sales. Another example could be, of course, lower support cost, because intuitive designs decrease the need for customer support, right? For instance, Buffer, a social media toolkit, showed that redesigning their help center resulted in a 26% decrease in support tickets. That's a huge amount, in my opinion. And actually at Motorola Solutions, our primary goal as UX designers is to reduce the user errors. Because it's essential for us to enable our users, public safety employees, to complete their tasks as quickly as possible without needing to contact support, because it's critical, life depends on it. And another example could be improved customer loyalty, because positive user experiences make customers stick around and come back for more, so we have repeat business.
I think all of these facts support that UX is not just an added bonus that you may or may not want to have. It's like quite literally essential for minimizing the development challenges and costs, of course. As you can see here, like every dollar spent on UX, you can save up to $100 in rework in development costs. Our own experience actually showed that early user testing can significantly reduce the amount of iterations needed for introduced features or what we're planning to do. This is not just about aesthetics. It's about functionality. So yeah, I really, I think it's kind of strange to hear from a designer, but we do our best to test all the early concepts with our consumers, development teams, our business stakeholders, and even sometimes other design departments. We have sync and prep sessions with business so they know what to talk to customer about, what to show them, what to basically ask for when showing those early prototypes. And this way we actually get early feedback and we can iterate if needed before spending more time and effort on development.
So UX integration isn't just about processes, but about the people we work with. And collaboration between designers and developers aren't really going to work out if we both work in silos and focus only on our specific parts. So, regular sync-ups, pairing on tasks, celebrating wins, and even enjoying breaks together are essential to building a great Agile team.
On my project specifically, we are doing our best to build mutual trust with active listening, feedback sessions, all kinds of workshops for all the team members, even though sometimes it may not directly relate to them. And we also do like weekly reviews of concepts and ideas, especially with front-end developers, me as a designer. So we are really trying to make sure that everyone is heard and understood, and I also need to make sure that what I design, they can develop. Don't let my developers hear it. Some of them might be watching, but I know I'm their best friend now. So bottom line is we are continuously making sure that we are improving as a team together. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The approach that will, oh, sorry. I forgot to change that one slide. So we have a classic meme. We know that for some people, UX and Agile, it's not really work out.
Yeah, so we are really all about the testing before you build it philosophy. And this way, dual track Agile lets us tackle design and development at the same time. But also we implemented a thing where I design at least one sprint ahead of development. So this gives me more than enough time to get early user feedback, to test with stakeholders, get the business sign off, all those kinds of things. And we, like this way, we are actually building something that customers want and need. So it's almost like having a crystal ball, but a bit more reliable. Yeah. Okay.
So we know that balancing Agile's rapid delivery cycles with need for UX research and UX design is crucial. And here's what we practice to achieve the balance. First, it could be iterative UX approach because we try to integrate UX research and user testing and design into each sprint, ensuring continuous feedback loop. We also do our best to actually leave some room for those activities, so we don't feel rushed. The next one would be prioritized UX tasks. We focus on the most impactful UX activities, avoiding unnecessary delays. And like sometimes it may be too overwhelming for us to actually, with the amount of tasks we have, right? But we got to try to work with our POs and PDMs to make sure we have the right priority. And finally, how about collaborative design sessions? We try to conduct joint design sessions with developers, fostering shared understanding and efficient implementation. Because you can't know all the little things as a designer and vice versa. Devs can't know every little thing about design.
Regarding this last point, I actually have a very good example. So when I started at Motorola a year ago, obviously I did not know every little thing when working with a whole new team. So I was tasked with designing a table component, let's say, and it had conditional elements in it. What I didn't know at that time is that our design systems for design and development are a little bit different. So what I designed, they couldn't develop. So we spent then extra time and effort redoing this stuff. And this all could have been avoided if I, first of all, early tested with developers, or, I could have, confirmed this implementation just a little bit earlier. It's also important to acknowledge that as designers, we aren't perfect. I know that's hard to hear, but we're not perfect, and that's perfectly acceptable. So we recognize our imperfections as not really weaknesses, but it's a strength that allows us to grow, to foster innovation, and to have a much deeper empathy for our users. So confirmation bias is something that we work with a lot because we are designing not for ourselves, right? Obviously, we're designing for our users. It can be hard sometimes because we base our decisions on, yes, UX practices, but also personal biases that we have ingrained in us. So we are trying to eliminate that as much as possible, and so that we can basically strive to approach design challenges more objectively. This awareness helps us to consider really diverse perspectives and maybe try not overlooking critical insights.
Okay, so we are all works in progress, right? And that's great. That's awesome because it gives us an excuse to actually learn new things and make our designs even better. And those learning experiences, or rather mistakes, are just fuel for building amazing user-proof products, right? So keep supporting each other's design adventures, and remember, perfection is a mirage, but continuous improvement, that's the real treasure.
basically, in short, UX is not just a nice to have thing. We consider it as a really must have thing. And it's done to avoid bad customer feedback regarding usability and unnecessary development costs. We've seen how early UX investment can really save money, and it reduces headaches for POs, for PDMs, all of us, and it really makes our users happy. So remember, Agile and UX is not enemies. We're more like roommates who eventually learned to share the fridge. And by really embracing design and keeping UX prioritized when you're planning your features, we can really balance speed and caring for our users. So take these tips, apply them, and watch your teams and products thrive. That's all. Yeah, so now the worst part of public speaking. Questions?
There are any? Oh,
Okay,
even more than one.
please be kind.
Hello, I wanted to ask you because in my company there's separate UX research team. Then we have UX designers, UI designers, and by the end of this, there's a development team. There's a lot of dependencies between those teams. And first, UX is doing some work. They hand it over to UI. UI is doing some work. Then they give it to researchers for that kind of usability test and getting feedback from the customer. By the end of the day, it goes to the development team. And I was wondering, in your example, because I understood that you work really closely with the development teams, are you a part of this team? And do you work with the same sprints with them? Do you join daily and kind of all those things? And I understood that you also do the research part on your own, or is it a separate team?
That's a good question because it depends. You can start from your experiences and then I can.
So on my project, I'm fully ingrained into the team. So I join all the dailies, all the sprint reviews, all the program reviews, and I know what each of the developers, whether it's front end, back end, cybersecurity, whatever it is, I know what they're doing. I know what is in their sprint. I know what they're working on. I also try to do like separate weekly reviews with front end specifically. Because things may change, it's the nature of some projects. And I try to make sure that I have work for them ready beforehand when they even like 2 sprints ahead. That would be an ideal situation. In terms of research, it depends because we have a separate research department. So we are working very closely with everyone. It's actually our priority to make sure we as teams work closely. And I think your statement was, UX does work, they hand it off. UI does work, they hand it off. So it seems like teams are working separately instead of working at least on some things together. So I think that might be, the challenge or problem here. So
I wonder how long the process usually takes for you.
It's very long. So by the end of the day, when developers are actually working on something and they have questions to the design team, design team is saying, oh, I'm already on another project. I need to get back to it. And it's like constantly switching the context. They've already forgot what was the process, right? Like, oh, we made this decision, why it was that. It's a nightmare.
And you also don't have regular sync-ups with UX researchers and UI designers?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it happens. So they also hand off to the development team.
Yeah.
They show the designs. They join retro. They don't join retro. They join sprint demo, sprint review. So it's not as close, right? There's some cross collaboration, but it's not a one team kind of thing.
I can imagine it should be very hard for you to finish anything.
It was our priority to advocate for involving UX teams into the process as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because we see problems that come when it's not implemented early. So I would really suggest working.
Let's be honest, it's not always possible.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And me, on the other hand, I'm a part of a design team. Like we have a design team of 3. And we also as a, let's say, as a part of our team, but working abroad is also a UX designer. And how to say that? Like for this project, the designers worked similar to what you've said about like your company, but our main focus was to change that a little bit and include us more into the established development process. And I think we managed to do that. And now we actually, as we said in the presentation, we are really focusing on regular collaboration between us and them. We have regular meetings. That's the most important part. Regular sync-ups, and we make sure that we align our roadmaps, because that can be the biggest challenge. Our roadmap may be way different than theirs, and I think that was the biggest issue that we started with. But we are like, they are really willing to make it work. And this is really something very important, because if there is no willingness, it's like very difficult to work anything out. But there is a will, and we are making great progress in aligning those roadmaps so that everyone has always something to do. And we are able to, for example, start the work a little bit earlier. We managed to decide together with architects that it's good to have UX designer on the stage when you try to propose some solutions, to establish some solutions, right? Instead of, hi, this is what we want to implement, draw it in Figma. This is what the initial understanding of UX designer was like, draw some nice pictures, right? So, but also it was because nobody taught them what we are actually doing. And they understood that we are the part of the whole team, not someone that you have to deal with and someone that is trying to make your life a nightmare, right? So actually, it's maybe not perfect because we have us. For example, I am not placed in Krakow. I'm from Warsaw. So I'm working like online all the time. We have a team in Krakow and we have a UX researcher in US. So we have to align the time zones and everything. But we actually, if there is a will, like you can figure it out. And we actually managed to establish a really good process. And even with the meetings we have to have, like regular meetings with UX researcher, regular meetings with the devs teams, it really works out nicely. And we can even collaborate offline. The devs learned how to use Figma, for example. That was something new to them. We introduced them, and they are really like, they are leaving comments there, and the process is even more fluent than it used to be because of that. And I hope I managed to explain our situation, but it really depends on the project you are in. Like, Polina is a single designer, a lead designer. I'm a part of the team because maybe our product is a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
definitely. Hope that answers that.
it didn't went too far, sorry. I believe there was another question, but I don't remember who wanted to ask it.
I think the person left.
She doesn't have time to deal with it. So.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.